Hey, well, good evening, everybody. It's the latest middle class review. It's October 2018. So, I've actually had a few questions this week from people looking at saving money. They're like, oh, how can I find the money to save, to put away for an investment portfolio or share portfolio? A few questions like this, and I've actually been thinking about the biggest expense that Aussies have outside of a mortgage, for instance, that they don't necessarily need. And no, it's not beer and barbecues. It's just above me right here. Motor cars. Aussies are obsessed with motor vehicles. Most households have at least 2 cars in Middle Australia. And look, people are buying record numbers of brand new cars. Year on year on year, we keep having record sales. Just when I think the market's going to peak, it keeps going up even more. And I even look in the staff car park at my work. We have over 100 staff. When I look at the car park, so many millennials are driving brand new or very near new SUVs. Well, there you go. You know where your money's going if you're buying a new SUV every few years. So I'll give you an example of what I do with cars. In our household, both our cars, I spent $6,500 on my car, $4,000 on the wife's car, and so it's $10,500. It's not a lot. So I'll tell you what our cars are. My car is the road-going version of the vehicle you see above me, just here. It's a 2002 model General Motors Holden Commodore S. So it's just a performance sedan, 6-cylinder family sedan. I paid $6,500 for that with 100,000 on the clock, one owner car, new tyres. That was over 5 years ago. The wife's car, I bought her just before we got married for $4,000. It had 132,000 Ks on the clock. It's a Holden Calais. Look, it's a luxury family sedan. It was $47,000 to $50,000 on the road, brand new. But I paid $4,000 for it. Got a good buy, private sale. And it's still insured for $4,000 today. It's just ticked over 205,000 kilometres. So, we don't do huge kilometres on our cars because we live relatively close to our work for Aussies. And I think to myself, well, what am I sacrificing? What am I foregoing by having new cars? That's why I purchase vehicles like this. Also, the cost of maintenance. Here's a big selling car right now in Australia, the Mazda CX-3. It's a small SUV. It's based on the Mazda 2 hatchback. These cars, they retail around the $25,000 mark. Look, a lot of people love them. A lot of young ladies buy them, and older women at my work purchase these cars new. But just the maintenance costs on them is quite high. I mean, for a service, over $360 for a basic service. Whereas with my cars, I'll buy semi-synthetic castor oil, 50% off. Whenever it's on sale, it's super cheap, order a Repco. And I'm paying only about $23 for a 5-litre bottle. And an oil filter I often get on 30% off sales for about $8.50. So for an oil and filter change, and I think our cars take about 4.5 litres of oil at a time. You end up servicing your car for under $30. So it's pretty cheap, and I can do it myself. It's very easy. The parts are very cheap as well. I mean, my wife backed into a post at a shopping centre. It was $40 at a automotive dismantlers, or wreckers as we call them here in Australia, just for the tail light, and I paid a mechanic mate $40 to put it in. It's very, very cheap to keep these cars on the road, and they're quite safe and reliable. And that's the thing, I think, when people buy new cars now, they're not thinking about the reliability, the maintenance cost, and also the depreciation. Look at one of the biggest mid-selling cars in Australia. Okay, the Toyota Camry's been a big seller for a long time, but the Mercedes-Benz C200. These cars are at least $60,000 on the road. You can buy a 5-year-old one with low Ks for under $20,000. So you lose a lot in depreciation. There's $40,000 in depreciation alone. Then imagine you're paying interest on this money you're borrowing. Instead of putting $200 a week into a car that sits in the sun whenever you go to work, or in a car park somewhere where other cars can dent it. Think about what you can be doing with that $200 a week in repayments. What if you were putting it in an index fund, say? Invested in an index fund, you'll probably get 7%. It's not hard to do, and it's not that risky an investment at all. Then after 5 years, instead of having a car that's lost 40,000 in value, in 5 years' time, you'll probably have, close to 100 grand. So that's just putting it in perspective. Okay, so this is why I do what I do. I'm happy to have a reliable car because people want to buy SUVs on the market now. Regular sedans and even small cars now, just the small little hatchback, are losing value rapidly. They're depreciating. So when you buy them on the second-hand market, they could be 5 to 10 years old. They're really quite cheap. And there's so much choice out there. So, you can save yourself a lot of money and build your investments quite quickly just by making a smarter decision when you go to purchase one of these bad boys. Well, not a race car, but the road-going version. Anyway, have a great week, guys, and as always, stay awesome.